All right, here we go.
So, Steve, do you think my independent alpha female mentality comes off too strong?
Well, let me ask you a couple questions. Have you been in long-term relationships?
I have. I've been in 3,
And
all less than about a year and a half, and I
Okay.
call it off actually a wedding as well.
and the guys were
Incredible, just not the ones I want to spend my life with, like life responsibility issues.
you an alpha woman, extremely independent, but you want a man that's more alpha male than you are, and you want to know if he's out there.
Now, I don't know enough about Steve Harvey here to know if this is like something that he's even familiar with. Steve Harvey, I mean, by my book, or by my reckoning, is not, he's a comedian, right? He's not a psychologist. He's not even Dr. Phil level of psychologist, but let's give him some of the worldly wisdom side of things here. Has he ever had this conversation before? Has he ever been confronted with stuff like this before? Because I don't know. I'm not familiar enough here, but I am familiar enough to know what the next words that are going to come out of his mouth are, because it's the standard pablum that you get whenever you get a situation like this. Like, well, how do I change my life? I'm an alpha female. I did everything that everybody ever told me to do that was right. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I've had this conversation with other women, let's just say, who I don't want to drop names right now, but back in June, I had a very similar conversation with a young lady who was, I believe she was 26 years old, and she threw something very similar to along these lines at me, and she said, "I'm 26 years old. I can't find a guy who's responsible. I've made a lot of I have a degree. I'm 26 years old. I'm making a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. And I can't find a guy who is of my caliber." Now, she's 26 years old. This woman here is 35. She's done. It's over. It's over for her. And you'll see why. You'll see why she acknowledges this at some point. She's done. But we can't kick her in the face that much. I mean, this is not an accountability show. This is a Steve Harvey show, right? But he's trying to sort this thing out. And first and foremost, and yes, I'm just going to get to this right now. When we are talking about alpha females, I have done this show. This is already in the can. Okay. There's no such thing as an alpha female. Ladies, there's no such, if you're watching this is your show, by the way. Ladies, if there's a rational female show, if there's a Rollo Tomassi for women show, this is going to be your show. And it's not to kick you in the teeth. It's to give you some objective reality. And that's, I think, one of the most difficult aspects. Like, people ask me all the time, why don't you have women on the show? Well, I'm not against it. But the reason that I don't is because I would have to go from speaking rational language to having to speak emotional language. Because women end up leading with emotions. Remember what I said before when we're talking about the triune mind theory. Instinct, emotion, and reason. Well, when women are communicating, the natural proclivity for women to communicate is emotion first and then reason after that, if we even get to that point. For men, it's usually the reason part first, and then we go, "Oh, I'm sorry, did I hurt your feelings?" Wait a minute. It's an afterthought. It's something that comes in a different order. That's why men communicate overtly. That's why women communicate covertly. Women are more like this because of that natural prioritizing of emotion before reason, and then for men, reason before emotion. And that's how you get men's being very blunt and we sound like we're cavemen and stupid, and women are happy to point that out because it's all about communication. It's a different communication style. There's a masculine communication style, and there's a women's female communication style. For women, it's all they prioritize the context of the conversation, meaning how does the conversation make me feel? Feel. For men, it's the other way around. The content of the conversation is what's the priority. What's the information? What's the problem I need to solve? What is this guy telling me? Are we exchanging something that I can learn from? It's the content versus the context. It's not that women don't get content in their conversations. They do. But the primary reason for that, or the approach, the concept of that conversation begins from a different standpoint for men and for women. That's why it seems like men are just these, hit them up over side of the head. We're the guys who are, like, men are supposed to say what they mean and mean what they say. For women, it's like, oh, let's get together and have coffee at Starbucks, right? It is an occasion, and it is enjoyable for women to communicate. For men, it is, but for a different reason. Like, we want to learn something, we want to do something. We're going to go learn. Let's go fly fishing. Here's how you do it. That kind of stuff. There's a purpose and a point to it. There's a process usually. So women say, oh, men don't talk about their feelings. Yeah, because we don't prioritize feelings in a conversation. It's just the way that we're built. It's the mechanics of the machine. Men prioritize information first, and then maybe they get to, oh, I'm sorry, did what I say offend you? And women know damn well that they're offending you right before it comes out of their mouth, because that was the intent. It was an emotional intent. So that's the difference in the conversation here. And what happens is, when a woman is trying to get sort of like, here's my problem, Steve Harvey. My problem is this. I've done everything that I was supposed to do. I got the degree. I'm an alpha female. I make my own damn money, right? She walks like the boss and talks like the boss, right? She's the stereotypical. And then on top of this, we're going to layer in religion on top of this. And that's where I kind of wanted to go with this a little bit today, because she is having an epiphany very late in life. Maybe she had it prior, but now she's kind of like throwing this out there according to whatever the producers told her to say. She's reading this from a script, right? You can tell that this was planned. You can tell that this is like something I almost think she memorized this. I'm pretty sure the parts of it she did. And so she's throwing this out there because she's trying to generate the idea that there's this sort of casual interest in, oh, hey guys, this is what's going on with my life. No, it's a popular concept and a popular theme that's online that the producers picked up on, that they want Steve Harvey to talk about. So that's how we get to this in the first place. Now, second of all, there's no such thing as an alpha female, right? So when women become alpha females, they are really becoming alpha males with female body parts. Okay, I'm going to say that nicely here. I probably already swore. There goes I'm probably going to, I appreciate the super chats for this one, because it's probably going to get demonetized. But so now we have it now it's out in the open, and now we can talk about it in sort of this, oh, well, it just happened to be the thing that's on my mind. No, it's not. This is part of the show. But what's going to happen here is he's going to try, and this is the accountability theme, the accountability side of things. He's going to try to turn this around in objective terms, but also couching it in emotional language, because that's what guys like Steve Harvey do. They know where their bread is buttered. They know what their target demographic is. Dr. Phil, daytime TV, right around 2-3 o'clock. And ask me how I know. I will tell you in a moment. But his demographic is definitely not you guys. It's definitely not my demographic. But his producers are more than happy to come and lift our material to throw it in there. And here's what happens. So here's what happens when Red Pill goes mainstream, right? And let me just clarify one more term here, is that when a woman says that she is an alpha female, that tells you all you need to know about her mindset. That tells you all you need to know about her programming. There is a blue pill for women. It's called feminism, right? But it's also called gynocentrism. It's also called fempowerment. It's also called, like, we're going to raise our little girls to, be basically masculinize our girls. That conditioning, that blue pill conditioning, is every bit as real as a blue pill conditioning for men. Keep that in mind. Ladies, if you're wondering, how come there's no rational female? Well, because for me to make it palatable, I would have to turn into Steve Harvey. And that is just a bridge too far, ladies. I am not going to do that. So when it comes to, I've put this out there before, when it comes to alpha females, when we have this image of like the CEO, the boss girl, the CEO chick, who's calling herself an alpha female, she has essentially made herself into an alpha male. And she'll get to a point where this woman is, where she's wondering why she can't attract other alpha males according to the criteria that she thinks that they should be attracted to, which is her. She probably believes that. I'm everything that everybody told me that I should be. Like the girl I was mentioning before, the 26-year-old, same thing. Same boat. It's getting earlier and earlier. And imagine me telling the 26-year, and I did this. Imagine me telling this 26-year-old alpha female that she needs to soften it up. She needs to get more feminine. She needs to get in touch with her. You need to get in touch with your feminine side. Ladies, if you're an alpha female and you're wondering where your prince is, your Prince Charming is, you need to get in touch with your emotions. You need to get in touch with your feminine side, your female side, because up to this point, you more than likely you've been nothing but the masculine side of things, if that's even a thing, right? Yeah. And women get really upset and pissed off at that because they have put so much time and so much effort and invested so much of their life in a narrative that told them if they did these things, if they had the money and they made themselves more secure and they made themselves the CEO, boss babe, whatever, that they would be successful, and men and high caliber, high value, whatever we're calling it today, high value men would want to get with them. Well, 35 years old, she's ditched at least 2 guys that we know of. Or she said she had 3 long-term relationships, I believe. One of them was a cancellation of a marriage. But he wasn't the right guy that God had dropped on her doorstep. You know, he wasn't the godly man of God. More than likely, it was a conflict of egos at that point. So what he's going to do here is he's going to try to soften the blow. He's going to try to soften the red pill here.
Well, yeah, like the faith-filled, I need like a Scottie Pippen to my MJ. Like, I'm MJ, like Michael Jordan, and I need that Scottie Pippen that's going to toss me the ball.
Wait.
Like, come alongside me.
No. Ain't nobody finna do that.
Like a teammate.
No, ain't no man finna do that. You, Michael Jordan, I'm finna be your Scottie. What strong, independent, alpha male you done met that's finna be the Scottie and let you be the Michael Jordan?
Well, I can be the Scottie, the Rodman, but is the Michael Jordan out there? That's
the
question.
They out there.
You think so?
But let me say this though. Mm-hmm. I don't think the problem is you've had 3 long-term relationships from 3 great guys. Most people can't say that.
Right.
I think it's you.
Okay, so when I say I've high expectations.
That's the funny part right there. That's the kick in the face part that he was trying to avoid, that he was hoping that he wasn't going to have to get to. But it's necessary for the conversation. That's how you build a successful podcast and holding women accountable for the consequences of the choices that they've made. She chose to be an alpha female, but maybe not, right? Maybe simply it was a consequence of her upbringing. Maybe it was a consequence of a childhood or, Playhouse Disney or Nickelodeon or whatever it is that taught her that she needed to do that. Maybe it was a empowerment narrative over the last, she's 35, over the last, let's say 20 some odd years, that convinced her that she can't trust men and that she has to be the one to provide her own security. She has to be the one to provide all of the necessities that come from a need for the beta buck side of hypergamy, right? Provisioning, protection, and parental investment. We have to throw that into the mix here. So and this is not to get her off the hook. Okay. She made her choices and there are consequences for that. And that's why I'm using this. That's why I'm showing this. And honestly, I think that's why she's on this show in the first place, as a plant, let's just say, because there's this, it's a hot topic right now to talk about the consequences. I was sold on this bill of goods that I could have it all, right? You can have it all, baby. That's Gloria Steinem, 1970s feminism language right there that we're still using today. But she seems kind of dumbfounded here and in shock. Now, this is the part where I think maybe she's a little bit more genuine, but let's keep going.
They're from like here to heaven. So I wake up, read devotion, read Bible. I have a master's degree. Yeah. Then I have a small volunteer-ran nonprofit, like strictly volunteer-ran nonprofit. So I'm quite busy and a principal of a middle school. Okay. So quite busy. Yeah. So but I can make time for a man. I cook. I will go out, get dolled up. I can do all that. Okay. But I just need someone that can support me in all the endeavors.
You inadvertently said you want your Scottie to which is really what you meant. Yeah. But you had to fix it after the crowd
After
went.
we talked.
Ooh, ah.
Yeah.
So you had to adjust it, and you said, well, I be the Rodney. But not really, though.
You're right.
And there's nothing wrong with you having what you have, doing what you do, and wanting what you want. I never ask a woman to dumb it down. If you have a high expectations of yourself and your life, you should go and do it, and don't stop what you're doing.
See, that's the problem. That's the problem, is that to be more feminine, to do something that might make you more attractive is, and he said it, quote unquote, and I've heard this a million times, dumbing it down. And that was what was thrown at me when I was having the conversation with a 26-year-old. Well, I don't want to dumb. What? I got to be an idiot? I got to turn myself into a ditz so that men will like me? Yeah. Well, that's what it's gonna boil down to. That's what it's going to feel like to you after a lifetime of having been told that if you do these things and you get this job and you get your nonprofit and you're the principal of a school and you do all this stuff and you're an alpha female, that's what it's going to feel like when somebody says you need to when Rollo Tomassi says you need to get in touch with your feminine side. You need to soften your ass up, because unless the guy, with obvious exceptions, men generally don't want to date other men. Okay. You know the exceptions, but heterosexual, red-blooded American men, whatever, men with, healthy amount of testosterone in their bloodstream, they're not looking to get with another guy. They're looking for the complement to that conventional masculinity that they have, that you are insisting on. I was just said it here. I want an alpha man because I'm an alpha female. That's the problem. That's the blank slate. That's equalism. That's blank slate egalitarian equalism is what that is. And we have been fostering this in at least the last 4 generations since the boomer generation. We have been fostering this in young women, that everybody's equal, and therefore your match, the only guy that's good for you, the Scottie Pippen to my Michael Jordan. Like that is some majorly egotistical shit there. Like, this is me and I'm a badass and I deserve another badass. No, because men and women are different. We are complements to one another, but we are not the same as one another. And that's the problem. It's like you've got a male and a female, and they fit together, mesh together pretty good, right? Since the time we were living on the African savannas and tribal cultures, right? We've been doing this for a long time, but now we're confused because we think that men. Well, I'm an alpha and you're an alpha, so that makes logical sense that we should get together. Where's my guy? It doesn't work for guys. Like, by the way, when I've talked about this in the past, where I've always said you're never going to reason a woman into bed, and I'm usually talking about gamma males when I am. And again, this is an abstraction, but usually it's guys who are very analytical and very reason-based and rational-based when it comes to their understanding of game or their understanding of the opposite sex or intersexual dynamics. These are the guys that keep Excel spreadsheets. Well, so-and-so said no, and this is the reason she gave me. And so-and-so said no, and I got rejected on this date and this time. And it's fill in the cells of the Excel spreadsheet. And so they get really analytical about it, but they get really upset with intersexual dynamics. They get really upset with the sexual marketplace because they think it should be a science. They think it should be something that is reasonable, because they fall prey to the same reason why this girl's here and she's about to cry, because she thinks, well, I've done all the right things and I haven't been rewarded for it. Where is my Prince Charming? Where's my alpha male to my alpha female? Because, likes attract likes. No, they don't. And men have been learning that the hard way, really, I would say, since the latter half of the 20th century. But here she is, she's going through the same wonderment, let's just say, that most guys get to when they go, why is that girl that I really want to get? Why is my crush really? How come I'm the emotional tampon for her, and she still goes and bangs the jerks? Why is that? Like guys who have that conversation with themselves, they don't understand, because logically, she should be with them, right? He's the perfect boyfriend. He'll be the perfect. I would never treat her the way that she gets treated by that jerk. Like those guys, they're thinking analytically. They're thinking reason-based. They're thinking in blank slate terms. They're thinking, well, men and women are just equal. And even if they don't actually verbalize those words, that's the idea. That's the sort of like the subroutine that's going on in the background of their heads. And so that's where the bewilderment comes from. How come my crush, she's the perfect girl for my one? How come my one isn't into me? And she wants to go bang Chad from the football team, and she keeps going back to him, and he treats her like shit. And I don't understand it. It must be her, or it must be me, or there must be some sort of mix up. There must be something wrong. She's not quality because she can't see how bi bitchin' I am, right? She can't figure it out. So there's got to be the problems either with her or it's with him or whatever. And the fact of the matter is that's just how the machine works. Okay. Men and women are not the same, but when you make yourself the same, like this woman has after 35 years, once she's made herself the same as an alpha male, she's coming to the realization that guys aren't into her for being an alpha female. Just like guys who are like these gamma males who try to she's trying to reason her way into bed and asking Steve Harvey, help me sort out and solve my confusion about this. No, well, this is something the Red Pill's been talking about for a while, and Steve doesn't know what the hell to say about it. He falls back on emotionalism and the same tropes that you would get from Oprah, from Steve, or from I want to say Steve Harvey, same ones you would get from like Dr. Phil. It's the stand. It sounds right. It's truthy. So we're going to throw it out there.